Let us warmly welcome Comrade Xi Jinping, the General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, to deliver remarks.
It's October 23rd, 2022, the day after the closing of the 20th Congress of the Chinese Communist Party. Before Xi Jinping announced his new leadership team this October, no one expected that a woman would join his inner circle. Indeed, for the first time in 25 years, China won't have a woman sitting on its politburo. This is a major regression in gender representation. The percentage of female members on the Central Committee has decreased from 8.8% in 2012 to 7.9% in 2017. This result is not surprising because the female representation has always been limited in the party state.
请宣誓人就位。
Since 1949, only 8 women have risen to the powerful 25-member Politburo. 1 out of 25 is not better than 0 out of 24. But who were the ones in the group of 25s?
Good morning.
Nice to see you again.
Good morning.
As the real woman in the upper echelons of Chinese politics, WION and Chunlan was seen as the woman who broke the glass ceiling by entering the politburo at one point. Both were given the title Iron Lady. Wu became a member of the Central Committee in 2002 at the age of 66 and became Minister of Health in 2003. In a culture that has not historically valued education for girls, Wu was one of the few young women to attend Beijing Petroleum Institute, graduated with a degree in engineering in 1962. She began her career as a technician at the remote Lanzhou oil refinery in the Gansu province. Over the next 4 decades, Wu rose rapidly through the ranks in the male-dominated petroleum industry and the equally patriarchal Communist Party. In 1988, Wu was named vice mayor of Beijing.
How does the CCP appoint officials? The CCP follows the nomenklatura system. The nomenklatura system allows the party to appoint people to major positions in the government. These officials' roles rotate so they don't govern one place for a long time. Rotation in the office ensures that officials are loyal to the party rather than to local constituents. Most elites are more likely to start from a more important position and rotate over multiple systems before they reach the top. However, most commoners are likely to start from lower positions. They can only make it to the top if they have connections with key party leaders or exhibit extremely good performance. Many officials who acted as the mayor of major cities, including Beijing, Shanghai, and Tianjin, ended up in leadership positions of the central government. For women, the ladder is steeper. Wu Yi was a commoner that exhibited extremely good performance. She started as a blue-collar worker and steadily climbed to the top. In 1997, Wu became an alternate member of the Central Committee of the Communist Party, and in 2002, Wu became a part of the Politburo.
In China, the Communist Party dominates the government of the People's Republic of China. Government, military, society, and schools, north, south, east, and west, the party is the leader of all. The Central Party government's highest level currently consists of a 24-member Politburo, and above it, a 7-member Standing Committee. The Central Committee reports to the Politburo. It currently has 205 full members and 171 alternate members. Wu Yi was first an alternate member of the Central Committee, and then moved up to the Politburo. While there is diversity within the national legislature, considering the 55 recognized ethnic minorities, women who Mao famously proclaimed for holding up half of the sky are further eliminated. Fast forward to today, that has now translated to top party positions or high political office for women. Far from reforming the status quo, the CCP is doing quite the opposite. The 20th Central Committee has 8.8% of ethnic minorities and women respectively. While ethnic minorities consist of 9% of the whole Chinese population, 48.76% of the population is women. In more ways than one, the party has indicated it would rather women stay at home to take care of the family.
As a member of the 14th and 15th Central Committee, Wu became a formidable figure both domestically and internationally because of her active presence in China's diplomacy and her strength to lead the nation to confront the SARS crisis in 2003. In 2007, there were rumors that Wu Yi may be the first female vice president in China. Nonetheless, at the 17th National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, Wu was not named to the new politburo. A month after the 17th National Congress, at a U.S.-China Chamber of Commerce meeting, Wu responded to speculation about her political future and said that she intended to retire completely. She said that she would not take on any office, whether official, semi-official, or with civic organizations. She also remarked that she wanted everyone to simply forget about her.
Even though women make up about 29% of Chinese Communist Party membership, vanishingly few manage to ascend from grassroots positions. For instance, the proportion of women in the Central Committee has hovered between 5 and 8% for the past 2 decades. Discrimination at lower levels prevents them from obtaining high-level positions. Because women held more marginal positions at lower levels, they enter government later than men, and they are forced to retire earlier than male counterparts.
Like Wu Yi, Sun Chunlan started her career as a blue-collar worker. She graduated with a mechanics degree from Anshan Industrial Technology Academy in Liaoning, and then worked at Anshan Clock Factory. She then became a part of the factory's party branch and joined the Communist Party in 1973. She worked as a manager at the Anshan Textiles factory until 1988, when she became the chair of the Women's Federation of Anshan. At age 45, she became a part of the Liaoning Provincial Party Standing Committee. The provincial government has a similar structure to the central government. Sun was a part of the highest officials in Liaoning province. Being in such a position at age 45 is very rare. Her counterparts normally become a part of the standing committee at around 50 years old. For example, China's Premier Li Keqiang, who was also a part of Liaoning's provincial party standing committee, became a part of it at age 49. Sun also held posts in Dalian, Fujian, and Tianjin. In Tianjin, she was the party secretary from 2012 to 2014. She was the first female party chief of a direct controlled municipality in party history. In 2012, she also joined the elite ranks of the politburo. Sun has been loyal to the incumbent leader of the Communist Party and expresses little personal opinion that differs from the party's agenda.
Some argue that Wu and Sun could have been promoted instead of ending their political careers abruptly if women were given more opportunities. But many other factors also accounted for the lack of female representation in the top body. One example is the party faction. In the post-Deng era, the ruling elites were divided into several factions, the Shanghai Gang, the Youth League, and the Priest today. The key indicator of which faction is dominant is how they can comprise the majority of positions in those institutions. For instance, during Jiang's rule, members of the Shanghai Gang mostly fill the positions. Today, members of the Xi Gang do. Conversely, if no faction enjoys a majority, then it suggests a power-sharing arrangement between factions, such as during the Hu era. In discussing women in China's leadership, it is crucial to understand them in the context of factional politics within the CCP, and how the trend toward monoliths in the near term might further restrain their presence. Before the 20th Party Congress, observers had hoped Sun would be replaced by Shen Yueyue, head of the All China Women's Federation, or Shen Yiqing, who became the third ever female provincial party leader when she was made head of Guizhou. But they were less likely to be promoted because of their affiliation with the Youth League.
Wu Yi and Sun Chunlan had no obvious factional color. They held some power since Jiang Zemin and were promoted by Hu Jintao. Sun Chunlan also worked under Xi Jinping. Because Wu and Sun were not closely related to any faction, it was extremely difficult for them to continue moving up ranks. As rear women in the party, Wu and Sun were accustomed to driving the party's will and bearing the country's criticism. For example, during SARS and COVID-19, Wu and Sun were pushed to the front to implement party policies and receive criticisms. Neither Wu nor Sun had any background in health before being put out on the spot to deal with these two crises. Wu was appointed Minister of Health after the SARS outbreak. Similarly, in late January 2020, Sun was appointed to become the leader of a group combating COVID-19. Sun has represented the country's hardline pandemic approach. Before December 2022, if she appeared in a city experiencing an outbreak, it was typically a sign of a stricter measures like broad lockdowns. She also delivered the party's zero COVID policy. In December 2022, she was also the one who announced that China's COVID policy would start to loosen up. Why is it hard for women to climb up the ladder? The cases of Wu and Sun demonstrated that it is extremely difficult for qualified women to claim a spot at the table. Many formal and informal patronage networks are established with women excluded from them. For example, many of Xi's inner circle members built a relationship with Xi when he was working at different posts. One of them is his roommate Chen Xi, who was promoted to be the principal of the Central Party School. However, it is harder for women to build similar ties with higher officials.
If a woman is aiming to enter politics in China, the path is obscure, as they have no one to look up to. With the limited number of women ever standing in the Central Committee, including a few from families of elites, it is almost impossible to conclude the commonalities that contribute to the career paths of Wu and Sun. Although both achieved unprecedented ranks in the party, they received much less recognitions compared to the male counterparts in the top body, and eventually they disappeared from the political and even public spheres. Does the CCP systematically undermine female representation in leadership positions? The obvious answer is yes, as no sign of women in the party today are receiving more credits for their works. The number of women in Central Committee is decreasing by year, and most ended up in secondary positions till the last day of their political careers. Are there any possibilities for change? As Xi removes the term limit and continues to strengthen his ties within the inner circle, the future of female leadership in China is even less promising compared to the past generations. In 2001, China introduced an informal quota system, requiring one woman at all levels of government and party, except the politburo. But without a proper supervision mechanism, this was lightly enforced. If we had seen a better quota system in place, which was reinforced strictly, we'd start seeing different outcomes.
0 out of 24 is not the end. But now, who can step up?